session. Ms. Misakowski and Mr. Savonic are here. We have 3 members. 10 minutes after 10, and we have Mrs. Chick, Mr. Fuhrer, Mr. Hernandez, Ms. Misakowski, Mr. Pacheco, Mr. Padilla, Mr. Ridley Thomas, Mr. Savornich. We have 10 now. All the row. Mr. Burnson has arrived. Could we have a little... Mr. Savornich has been gone, and he's forgot how to act in the council chamber, so will you please be quiet?
Burnson, Chick, Fuhrer, Galanter, Goldberg, Hernandez, Holden, Miskowski, Pacheco, Padilla, Ridley Thomas, Savornich, Wax, Walters, Ferraro, 10 members present and a quorum, Mr. President.
The council will please come to order. This is a meeting of the City Council for the City of Los Angeles on the 14th day of September 1999. There are 15 council districts in the city. The regular meeting days are Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We are currently being viewed by cable subscribers throughout the Los Angeles area on Channel 35, and we're also being monitored by council phone. The first order of business.
Approval of the minutes.
All right. Mr. Wax moves. Mr. Burnson seconds. There's no objections. Unanimous vote. Next item.
Commendatory resolutions for approval.
There's no objections. Unanimous vote. Next item.
Item 28, a request that this matter be received and filed. The property is in compliance.
We do have somebody that wants to be heard on this. Mr. Colon, this item is going to be received and filed, which means that it will not go into the REAP program. Take the other microphone, please. Does that satisfy you?
Yes. No, it doesn't satisfy me that it's going out of the REAP escrow account program. It was explained to me by the Department of Housing that certain issues that were making the building eligible for the rent escrow account program had now been complied with. However, I was able to show them that continuously throughout the whole process of habitability enforcement into the supposed transition into REAP for the building, many violations continue to be outstanding regarding habitability, health, fire, and safety, that and many of the permits that were required in order to be written off as in compliance are not even applied for. I have presentations with color photographs that I will leave behind for the City Council to review, to see the conditions of the building as recent as Sunday and last night, taken digitally and photocopied for your review to see the conditions that the tenants have to live with.
Okay, thank you. Sergeant, would you have something you want to leave with the...
Yes, but we also would like to move that there's legal action taken against the landowner, Whitley Associates.
Okay, well, that's your responsibility, not ours. So you're going to file a lawsuit, but the department seems to be satisfied and they want to receive and file the case. So thank you very much.
Very good.
Okay, there's no objections. The 28 will be received and filed. Next item.
Item 41, there's a request that this matter be continued until September 15th.
If there's no objections, unanimous vote on that.
Item 32, request that this matter be continued till September 21st.
If there's no objections, unanimous vote on 32 being continued.
Item 42, a request that this matter be referred to the Environmental Quality and Waste Management Committee.
Is there any objections to that? Could we have a quiet in the council chamber?
I think there's a card on that one.
It's going to be referred to EQ, and so there's no objection. That will be the order. Next item.
Item number 8 on the regular agenda is commission appointment. Mr. Luis Mata to the Commission on Disability.
Mr. Mata. We have item number 8.
There'll be a motion required because Ms. Walters did not sign her communications.
Okay. All right, Mr. Fuhr moves. We confirm Mr. Mata. Is there any discussion on this? If not, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 eyes.
Mr. Mata, you've been approved. We want to thank you for serving the city.
Thank you, sir.
Forthwith on that. Could we have some quiet in the council chamber, please? Next item.
Item number 9 is commission appointment, Mr. Dalton Smith to the Cultural Affairs Commission.
Is there a motion is required? Ms. Sikowski moves. Any discussion? If not, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 eyes.
Mr. Smith, you've been approved. We want to thank you for serving the city.
Thank you.
Forthwith on that item. Next item.
Item number 20 on the regular agenda is the reappointment of Mary Jo Walker to the Community Forest Advisory Committee.
This is a reappointment. Any discussion? A motion is required. Mr. Burnson moves. Any discussion? If not, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 eyes.
You've been approved.
Thank you.
Forthwith on that item. Next item.
Items 1 through 7 on the regular agenda are items for which are noticed for public hearing.
All right, we have a card on 7, so anybody want to be heard on 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Anybody want to be heard? We have no cards. So the public hearing is closed. Any discussion on any of those items? Any discussion? If not, prepare the roll on 1 through 6. Tabulate the vote.
12 eyes.
Those are approved. Forthwith on 6. Next item. Yeah. All right, Leonard Shapiro wants to be heard on 7.
Mr. President and members of the council, 7 concerns the establishment of another business improvement district in Westwood Village, where at one time, about 2 years ago, there was tremendous opposition to the establishment of this BID. But I rise to speak on this item just for one reason. I have seen no reports from any of the business improvement districts in the city of LA to show what they're doing. I know they're designed to do the work that the chambers of commerce of the areas should be doing, what all concerned citizens should be doing, but are they doing it? They get $25,000 of federal money to get established, and then they get borrow some money to let it go along. But are they spending all this money on security? Are they spending all this money on knickknacks that don't amount to anything? Or are they doing their job? I really would like to know. I think every city council person should know about this. The fact that the government, the federal government, is making money available doesn't mean that you got to throw it down with the wastewater. Something should be done, and something should be done concretely. And let's hear. If they're doing something, maybe I'll change my mind. I'll think they're a wonderful organization, Mr. President.
Garcia. Hold on a second. Hold on. The public hearing is closed on item number 7. Is there any discussion on 7? If not, prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 eyes.
That is approved. Next item.
Items number 10 through 19 on the regular agenda are items for which public hearings have been held.
Okay,
Ms. Chick has called item 14 special.
Mrs. Chick called 14 special. Members of the council, we've had public hearings on all these already, but we do have we have some people who want to be heard on 13. Mr. Holden? There are people who want to be heard on 13, but any other specials besides 14? Huh? Any other specials? 13 is called special? Okay, we have 10 through 19 with the exception of 13 and 14. Prepare the roll, tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those are approved. Forthwith on 10. Next item.
Items number 20 through 43, or excuse me, items number 21 through 43, with the exception of 28, 32, and 42, which have already been acted on.
Okay, we have cards on 38. We'll call that special. Anybody want to be heard on any of the other items? Anyone want to be heard on any of those other items besides 38? Seeing none, the public hearing is closed. Any specials by council members? Any specials by council members? If not, prepare the roll on 21.
37?
Which one?
37?
37 is called special. All right, we have 21 through 43 with the exception of 28, which has already been acted on. 32 has been acted on. 37 is called special. 38 is a card. And 41 and 42 have been acted on. So prepare the roll on the balance. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Those are approved.
One you said been acted on, is that item was to be continued today? That's what we did?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, the next item.
Item 13, called special.
Ms. Misakowski, as I say, we do have some people who want to be heard, but it's, public hearing has been held.
I move a 5-minute public hearing, and then I would like a staff report.
Okay, we have 5-minute public hearing. Is there any objections to that? All right, we have Mike Miller, Robert Swanson.
Now it's in finance. I don't want to come to finance yet.
Mike Miller.
Good morning. Yes, my concern was I attended a meeting on Sereno pertaining.
Pull the microphone up to you.
Okay, thank you. Yes, I attended a meeting regarding acquiring leasing some space, where the meeting seemed to be comprised of just Korean or Asian-speaking languages that I didn't understand, and my understanding was pretty much that this was open to the public due to the fact that the funds that were being were going to be public funds through the riot reconstruction monies. I just went to see exactly what was transpiring and try to find out some information. But my problem was I couldn't talk to anyone to get any information outside of the information that was there on the panels there. So I had a serious concern if this was supposed to be open to the public, predominantly under
Okay, you're going to take all 5 minutes? We have other people who want to be heard.
No, I won't take all 5
All
minutes.
right, Robert Swanson. And then Carol Marcera.
Yes, my name is Robert Swanson. I'm the Secretary General of the Wilshire Center Community Watch, which is a volunteer organization that has been monitoring this particular project as well as some other problems in the immediate area. We have some very serious objections to using so-called Section 108 riot reconstruction money to build what amounts to a members-only, very expensive urban country club, to use public money to promote alcohol sales. The plan calls for 3 liquor licenses, but 11 locations in the building distributing full-line liquor sales. As far as I know from comments from Councilman Hernandez, the city has never financed bars before. It would also be financing almost a full floor of massage parlors in the building. Finally, the most recent concern, which was initially addressed by Mr. Miller, who just spoke, is that the leasing effort has been entirely in Korean, in the Korean Times only, Korean radio, Korean television, and when they had their leasing seminar, which Mr. Miller wanted to lease space for a martial arts equipment store, they spoke only Korean. All that appears to violate the State Civil Rights Act of 1966, and I think it's against public policy to use taxpayer money to promote alcohol sales, which are objected to by the Los Angeles Police Department. We're being paid tax money to enforce the law and tax money to create the problems, to use tax money to create a private members-only country club with supposed riot reconstruction money.
Thank
And-
you.
Okay, thank you.
You're going to use all the time. Carol Marcera and then David Manich.
Ms. Mancera had to go to a medical appointment.
Okay,
and she
David
hasn't returned.
Manich, and then Dr. Edward Hahn.
I'm David Mandich. I've been in banking for about 18 years. I own property in the Wilshire District. And I was asked by the Wilshire Watch Committee to analyze this proposal. This is not a bankable project, in my opinion. It's missing any cash input on the part of the borrowers. The collateral is not good, and the borrower's credit is bad. The local borrowers, the Ons, had a property foreclosed on, an apartment building they could not even manage recently, and their general partner, the construction company from Korea, has defaulted on billions of dollars in loans in the last couple of years. They're totally upside down and certainly not creditworthy. The project itself has been over budget at about $200 a square foot. The actual cost is probably half of that. At the last hearing, the borrower stated they spent over $10 million on the project so far. There's only a hole in the ground with a fence around it. The net result of this is that in the end, the city's going to end up getting this project back. The feds are going to say, why did you bring this project to us? And where's our money? And the city's going to have a lot of serious questions to answer. This project needs to be looked at more seriously and more deeply. There's an awful lot of red flags in here. A bank, a serious bank, would never make a loan on this project. Thank you very much.
Dr. Hahn apparently is not here, so the 5 minutes is up anyway, so okay, you want to come forward and be very brief. The 5 minutes is up.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Edward An. I'm a representative of Hanil Development Corporations. We have a project in Wilshire Boulevard. Total project is about $24 million. So far, we spent about $15 million on this project, our own investment. And we are going to produce about 175 public jobs in Mid-Wilshire area. Everybody's worried about alcohol license, but we do have a 3 alcohol license in this project. But on top of that, we do have 3 restaurants. The restaurants are supposed to have an alcohol license. And also, they are concerned about bankrupt and in Hanil, in Seoul, Korea. However, there's 2 different Hanil corporations in Seoul. Hanil Fabric Company, yes, it did bankrupt about 3 years ago. However, Hanil Cement, Hanil Construction Company is still on business, and we do have 13 companies actively involved in business. So as far as finance-wise, as I told you, we do invest already $15 million
right.
on this project.
All right. Okay, thank you, Doctor. Okay, the public hearing is closed on item 13. Ms. Sikowski, you called it special?
Can we have a staff report on this, Mr. President? A staff report? Can staff come forward?
Could we get a report on this item?
Good morning,
Give your
Jasper
name.
Williams, Community Development Department, Ernie Tidwell, Community Development Department. We have received the application for 108 funding on this project and have done our due diligence in terms of review. Our goals being, 1, to determine project eligibility, and in this case, in terms of Community Development Block Grant national objectives, it is the job creation that we find the project qualified under. As the developer has indicated, there are approximately 170 jobs that are related to this project, which will be accessible by low and moderate income individuals that live near the project development. We have done a due diligence as it relates to the finance. We have done our due diligence in terms of the financing aspect of the project, and I'll have Mr. Tidwell speak to the underwriting exercise that's gone forward.
Our underwriting includes an independent feasibility study from a recognized consultant that has provided that information that is an integral part of our financial analysis. We have gone through all of the necessary steps to secure the necessary approvals for this project. And based on that information that we've gathered, the project is feasible in every aspect in which we've done our underwriting.
We have also reviewed the membership aspect of this project, and in dialoguing with the developer, they intend to provide for, this will be a membership club as compared to a YMCA or a community park, but quite honestly, even the YMCA is a membership club these days. That is how these kinds of projects generate cash flow. The developer has indicated to us that much like other clubs of this sort, they will have a range of membership opportunities that will be available to the public, from a low-end membership that provides for basic access to basic facilities through the high-end membership that would allow a member to access all elements of the facility, etc. So in our opinion, the project will be accessible to the public, and the public will have to pay accordingly in terms of whatever the costs are for the membership ranges. There is private financing in the project. It was indicated that the project was not bankable. In this case, GMAC is the private lender that has been indicated to us, and they are in the project for $5.5 million. Our 108 guidelines allow us to lend up to 30% in gap financing for this project, for projects. And in the case of this particular project, our input represents approximately 14% of total project costs. So our money, we're taking our $3.5 million and leveraging it against a total $24 million project. And again, in our view, the project is financially feasible, and that does what we seek to do with 108 funds in terms of leverage.
And one point of correction, the GMAC permanent financing is proposed at $10 million. It was stated at $5.5. The proposal is $10 million.
And that concludes our staff report. We're open to questions.
Ms. Misakowski?
I just had a few questions. I have a list of what the other Section 108 programs have been for this in the city, and I see community service building, community services in general, a mixed residential and commercial project, a state economic development office, supermarket. Do you believe that this project comports with the general kind of projects that we have been using for 108? And can you respond to some of the testimony today indicating that there was not accessibility in terms of leasing information as broadly as I think is required under both city regulations and the federal regulations?
Yes,
And the last question is, I also understand that there may, when you indicated that the private club was going to be available to various memberships, including low-end and high-end, do you know what the rate of the low-end entry to this private club might be? And then finally, do we have any other Section 108 program where we may have had as many alcohol vendors, alcohol venues? I understand there are going to be 9 at this particular location. There's 3 licenses, but 9 venues, as I understand it. Can you talk a little bit about those issues?
Yes, one of the questions you had relates to other types of projects similar to Hanel Development's Aroma Sporax project. As most of us know, the Hanel Development project is considered a multi-sport development. It includes a number of different elements, which would be the health club component, the driving range, retail, food court, which does include the restaurants as mentioned, also parking. The project in itself, because of the makeup, does not resemble other projects. In the feasibility analysis, the consultant focused on a well-known sports club in the city of LA to glean some of the information to help substantiate what we were trying to do in our underwriting. More specifically, if you look at the components themselves in relation to the projects that the Community Development Department has done in the way of Section 108 financing, the YMCA as one project that was done quite a few years ago, I would say probably 10 years ago, it was under the old UDAG program, which would resemble, in fact, the multi-sports component. We all know what YMCA clubs do. In addition, the retail component of Hanale Development can be resembled in terms of the Health Research Associates project, which does have some retail as well as some office. Angeles Grand Plaza is another Section 108 loan that includes some retail. So there are some similarities in that regard. And I'd also like to respond briefly, and then I'll give up the mic. I'd like to respond to the language scenario that was mentioned in that there was a possible barrier. I do know personally that one of the representatives from the mayor's office, the Los Angeles Local Development Corporation, attended that meeting. And that individual does not speak Korean. And he was asked to make a presentation to try to consider possible financing for prospective tenants of Hanale Development.
Okay, then speaking to the other aspect of your question, in terms of the membership rates, we asked the developer about the specifics of their marketing plan and the membership rates, and the information that I gave earlier in terms of them planning to array the memberships from low end to high end was as specific as I was able to get. I was not able to get specific rate quotes. Did we speak to each aspect of your question? Okay.
Okay. All right, Mr. Hernandez?
Members of the council, this was a project that came before the CED committee. It was reviewed on several occasions because of a lot of the questions that were being put by the public. First, let me start by saying you have a vacant lot that's been vacant for 8 years, going on 9 because of our decision-making process here. And a project that overall is a $24 million project with a first that'll probably be for about 10 million, and the city's second, which will be about 3.5. If the developer was to not comply with paying back the city, we would be getting in essence a $24 million project for 13.5 million, 3.5, which is this loan. And we're sitting in a great position for payback. What that means is this project will generate about $257,000 of program dollars for the city on a yearly basis until it's all paid back, but the $257,000 is basically profits. It also creates jobs. Now, the issue of the licenses, which you need to know, is we reviewed them very carefully because we were concerned about the liquor licenses. And at one time, it was represented that there was going to be like 11 of them. And we're talking about a food court. We're talking about one that is basically going to be issued for the purposes of the restaurant. They're not nightclubs. That is not prohibitive, and the hours are limited. And so then the question became, one, it's a good investment for the city. I think the city gets paid back. It does create jobs. I kept on saying this is the cheapest way the city has of getting a community center, but we have to hope that we get to foreclose on it. The other reality is when we talk about 108 funds, what I wanted people to understand is this is basically civil unrest 108 funds because of the vacancy of the lot. And when I talk about the 8 years, you got to go back to when the civil unrest happened and the nexus is there. Our reality is we've been using 108 funds for projects like the Santa Barbara Plaza is a proposal that's before us. The Goodyear track is a proposal that's before us. We're now using 108 funds. Primarily, the nexus has to be job creation and basically dealing with blighted properties. And from that perspective, this project qualified on all those terms. I just wanted to kind of give some rationalization as to what the committee went through, but the committee looked at this project at least 3 times.
All right, is there any further discussion on this? We have item 13 before us. Prepare the roll.
Let's go.
Tabulate the vote.
7 ayes, 5 noes.
That has failed. Next item.
Item 14, called special by Councilmember Chick.
Mrs. Chick, you call 13 special.
Yes, I would like to have the key staff players from the CAO's office, CLA. I believe I saw Mr. Tuttle, our city controller. Colleagues, what you have before you is a report from a specially convened meeting of your Government Efficiency Committee,
Which one?
taking a look at, unfortunately, another example of the difficulties that government often has in effectively implementing large technology systems.
Budget and finance.
What your committee is suggesting is that it is very much the moment that we take a very expedient step backwards, follow the recommendations of basically all of the key departments and entities in our city government, and get some objective, expert, outside help in a very short timeline, expense to be covered by existing CAO and CLA funds, to fully get our arms around what is the very best way to proceed with the technology to improve our city payroll system. Mr. Tuttle very courageously, in my mind, picked this time, based on information that he had received from an outside consultant, to wave a red flag and get our attention and say there are problems here, there are reasons to be very careful about the expenditure of any more taxpayer dollars until we make these important decisions. I am absolutely dedicated to the task of finding ways for this city government to effectively and efficiently expend public dollars to implement in the best possible way the technology systems that we need to go forward into this next millennium. And part of this exercise is going to be taking a look at what has been done in the past that needs to not be repeated going into the future. The only reason to look backwards is to benefit from it. And since this is not the first time that this government and certainly other government entities across this country have had problems with implementing these technology systems, it really is a top priority for us to figure out how to go forward in an effective way. We owe it to the taxpayers of this city. I would like for a presentation from city staff.
Get a report
Thank you.
from the staff. So we'll start out with you, Mr. Tuttle, or?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll make a brief statement, then of course will be available for your questions at the appropriate time. I'm here with Mr. Tony Miera, the Chief Deputy Controller, Mr. Hal Danowitz, the Director of Fiscal Systems. Mr. Chairman, Mr. President, I'd essentially like to make 3 points. First, when we began the LAPS project, we did so in large part because we needed to have an alternative track to the old payroll system in order to be year 2000 compliant. We were getting consistent and serious warnings from the Mayor's Information Technology Agency that to upgrade the city's old payroll system would be expensive, it would be risky. And ITA was giving its best estimate professionally at that time. We had to have a second track, and like agencies all over the world, we knew that Y2K upgrades were going to be expensive, they were going to be complex and difficult. My second point is that as we struggled to implement the new payroll system, as our contractor began to miss deadline after deadline, the Information Technology Agency moved forward and began to attempt to make the old payroll system Y2K compliant. During the last few months, it became increasingly apparent that LAPS would have difficulty making Y2K, and an independent analysis by Maximus, the consulting firm to which Councilmember Chick alluded a moment ago, suggested that millions of additional dollars would be required to complete LAPS, but that ITA was making progress.
Sergeant, could we have some peace and quiet in this council chamber? And if they continue to talk, just ask them to leave the council chamber, please. And that includes staff members.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Maximus suggested that millions of additional dollars would be required to complete the LAPS project over and above the $6.3 million which you voted as an additional monies for us this year. But we also learned that ITA was making progress on Y2K compliance on its track with the old system. In late August, ITA informed us that its effort on its track had succeeded and that the old payroll system would be Y2K compliant and could meet the requirements of forthcoming MOUs in the next few years. Its assurances removed the imperative for us to push on with the LAPS project for Y2K and MOU purposes. Now, while we could wish ITA had known earlier about the viability of the old system, we're glad they know now so we can save much of the money in this year's LAPS budget and can avoid additional costs. With the Y2K imperative having gone away, we could focus solely on the economic cost benefits of going forward with the LAPS system with the current contractor arrangement. My third point is that in late August, I decided that the costs of LAPS were going up by additional millions, according to Maximus. The benefits were going down. For example, the cost of maintaining a new citywide LAPS distributed system appeared to wipe out the savings we expected by being able to reduce the staff support for the old system. And also the cost of upgrades turned out to be more expensive than expected. Also, we were losing confidence in our contractor, who had missed 4 contractor-established deadlines for the completion of the project, and, as I mentioned a moment ago, the year 2000 imperative was off the table. Therefore, I notified the contractor we'd hold him to his contractual date of September 30 to give us a working payroll system, or I would recommend that we rebid the job. In the letter I sent to you, members of the council, and to the mayor of the 27th, on the third page of the letter, I wrote that in addition, should the LAPS contractor fail to fulfill its obligation, and we learned yesterday from them that they will not be able to meet the obligation of September 30. I would recommend that the city proceed immediately with with the option of preparing a request for qualifications and proposed approaches to meet the city's future needs in payroll, personnel, timekeeping, and benefits. And they are to, 1, request ITA to submit a proposal on how it would redesign or re-architect the legacy system to meet the requirements of the city for human resource management, payroll, and timekeeping. 2, request any vendor who wishes to submit a proposal to describe how they would finish the work started by the present contractor should the contractor not complete the project. 3, solicit any fresh approaches or out-of-the-box proposal to meet any or all of the city's needs. And each proposal, I wrote, should contain sufficient information to accurately estimate the true life cycle costs to the city of the proposals to give the city the benefit of the competitive marketplace. I am not saying, in conclusion, ladies and gentlemen, I'm not saying that we necessarily end the LAPS project. I am saying we need to take a fresh look at it and give it the benefit of the competitive marketplace. On the proposal which is before you today from the Government Efficiency Committee, I concur with that proposal. It meets, as the chair of the committee indicated a little earlier, it meets the concern and the recommendations which I raised. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Controller. CO, Mr. Fujioka, if you had any comments at this time or anyone else?
My comments will be real brief. We were asked by the Government Efficiency Committee to identify a qualified firm to assist us in the evaluation and assessment of the current status of the LAPS project. There's one comment I want to add is that I'm convinced, my office is convinced, following our analysis of the present state of this effort, that we need to go forward. The legacy program, although it meets our current needs today, it is an old and very tired program. It's written in a language, a computer language, that is at best going out the door. It's a 20 to 30-year language. It's COBOL language. The system may be Y2K compliant, but if not now, in the very near future, we need to move to a more efficient and effective payroll system. So we have identified a firm that we would like to work with. We've looked at the qualifications of this firm. They have significant experience dealing with the PeopleSoft software program that we're currently trying to implement for our LAPS project. They have considerable mainframe and HR experience throughout the industry for very large employers, and we feel they have exceptional qualifications to complete this task. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Fujioka. Does any other members of the staff have anything to present at this time? If not, I will start to recognize colleagues. Okay, the chair would like to recognize Councilman Ridley Thomas. Mr. Ridley Thomas?
Thank you, Mr. President, and if you'd be kind enough to ask Mr. Wax not to distract me when you are trying to get my attention, we'd be most appreciative. Is that the order? Thank you so much. I rise to compliment the work of the Government Efficiency Committee in taking up a matter that has been before us for a considerable amount of time. I am also in concurrence with the sentiments raised by the Controller as added to by the CAO. I simply want to say that the controlling considerations, in my view, in light of the fact that it is largely acknowledged that we are delinquent in implementation, that we focus on two factors. One would be expeditiously and or efficiently getting on with the work that could have and should have been done, and secondly, we pay close attention to cost effectiveness. With that in mind, it seems to me that we have the prospect of a vendor that could be of assistance. The CAO has already indicated that they have a recommendation to make in that connection, and it would be of value to know who that is, if it's appropriate at this point in time. But it seems also worth noting that the Controller indicated that a bid process would ensue so as to select a vendor who might be helpful. And if I didn't hear that correctly, Mr. Tuttle, I wish to be corrected. So there are several things that are concerned to me in this connection. Cost effectiveness, obviously, if we can efficiently and or expeditiously get this online. And I have a friendly amendment to the committee's report that I will submit for consideration, and Mr. President, I'd be glad to hear responses from either the Controller or the CAO.
Thank you, Mr. Ridley Thomas. Before I call on the next colleague, I believe the Controller would like to respond. Mr. Tuttle?
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Councilman Ridley Thomas, I have no objection to the committee report or the recommendation of the CAO. I see this consultant helping us in the process of working our way through, as I see it, the options which I presented, other options which I read and paraphrased earlier. And I expect that to be a very vigorous discussion where it will turn on issues of cost benefit. Other ideas that are not even listed in my particular items may also come up.
Thank you, Mr. Tuttle. Mr. Fujioka?
The current issue before us is identify an appropriate firm, a qualified firm, to conduct a management review on assessment evaluation. Subsequently, if necessary, if appropriate, we may have to identify another firm to come in to assist in the effort to complete the implementation of the program, and that may require a new RFP process. But we need to go through the assessment first.
All right, I want to speak to that issue when you permit, Mr. President.
Mrs. Chick?
No, I would prefer my colleague to go ahead and finish his comments, and if there's an amendment, and I was just looking to close.
All right, Mr. Ridley Thomas?
Mr. President, members of the council, this payroll system, as we refer to it as being LAPS, is obviously a highly sophisticated and complex one, and any analysis that the city may require of the system should make use of those entities and resources that are most knowledgeable about the software. It would be my view that in light of the fact that PeopleSoft Incorporated has been involved up to this point with the implementation and design, that consideration ought to be given to and exhaust that option with respect to whether or not they wouldn't save us time and or money, set what would amount to a fixed rate for this assessment to be done. Be mindful of the fact whoever were to be selected would come back and have to do another assessment anyway. And with that in mind, Mr. President, members of the council, I offer item 14A for the council's consideration so that the city administrative officer could move forward with his negotiations and get the LAPS project on line by a date certain with a fixed cost. I would so move.
Is there a copy of it around?
I'm getting ready to circulate it now, Mr. President.
14A, but he implied he wanted to
Mrs. Chick?
Yes.
Could we get that 14A passed around, please?
I'm doing it now.
If I'm understanding correctly, and when I see the amendment, I'm sure it will become clear. Mr. Ridley Thomas, you are suggesting that since it's PeopleSoft programming, that they are the ones that do this assessment.
Correct.
And that, does the second part of that direct them to, or direct the city to enter negotiations with PeopleSoft to finish the project?
Quite conceivably, but I think that would be subject to the assessment of the CAO.
So this is just on the assessment?
I would think that it has to come back for ultimate review there and be adopted accordingly.
Okay. Before I could support this, I would like to hear from key city staff. I know that I have talked in the past and met with the PeopleSoft representatives, and certainly some of what they were saying to me made a great deal of sense in terms of they are the experts in their own software. And in terms of going forward, if we are to decide to continue with the LAPS implementation, and I certainly would want to know a lot of details before I would support that, it would certainly make sense to consider PeopleSoft as the right entity to implement their own software. But perhaps we could hear a reaction from CAO, CLA, and controller.
Fujioka.
Mr. President, members of the council, on the matter of PeopleSoft stepping in and possibly being chosen to complete the LAPS project as one of the options after the review is done by the appropriate city forces and the outside consultant, that might very well be an example which could be chosen. But if the recommendation is to forego having the city retain an independent consultant to evaluate the options before us, which would include various options of various approaches to LAPS, possibly going with the legacy system and so on, I think it would be a mistake to have PeopleSoft be in that role.
And which role, Mr. Tuttle?
Let me go back over it. Mr. President and members of the council, Councilman Ridley Thomas, if the proposal is to entertain the possibility that after the city does its review with the help of an outside independent consultant, that one of the possibilities be that PeopleSoft step up and complete the integration, complete the work. That's certainly a proposal worth having on the table, and it certainly should not be taken off the table, because that's part of the competitive arena. If, however, the suggestion is that instead of bringing in another firm, which has been yet to be named at this table, but instead of bringing that another firm in, we bring PeopleSoft in, then I think we forego the possibility. It's just not fair to them to expect them to have the ability to evaluate the widest range of options available. For example, looking at the legacy system and upgrades there, looking at other vendors for the PeopleSoft system. So I'm not quite sure of your intent, but I wanted to voice my concern regarding it.
Okay, Mr. Fujioka, did you want to be heard?
Yes, real briefly, I echo those concerns. It's important that we bring in a company that can conduct an independent assessment of our current project. Basically, if PeopleSoft came in, we'll be asking them to audit themselves in some respect. It's important that we have someone that doesn't have any current standing or role in this project to conduct an independent assessment. ITA is also at the table. Who would like to make a comment?
Dennis Frady from ITA. I would repeat what Bill just said. I think it's important to have somebody that's independent, who doesn't have a direct interest one way or the other to make the assessment. I would further agree with Mr. Tuttle that after that assessment is made, then PeopleSoft would certainly be a viable contractor to complete the LAPS project.
Yeah, I think based on what we're hearing from city staff, I would ask that we go ahead with the report as it stands and relook at the involvement of PeopleSoft once we hear back from this outside consultant.
All right, Mr. Hernandez wants to be heard. Mr. Hernandez?
I just had some questions here, because I think I understand where Mr. Ridley Thomas is going with this. He feels that if PeopleSoft's already been working with us on the issue and so forth, they would be the best in the position to help us implement it. Are there any companies that were being considered to do the study, to do this work?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. Is PeopleSoft one of them?
Not to do the assessment and evaluation. Now, we need to make sure we separate the two tasks. One is the assessment and evaluation. The second is implementation. I concur with the other speakers that PeopleSoft should be considered for the second step in this process, and that's the possible continued implementation of this effort, but not in the evaluation and assessment.
And I'm asking why not?
Because, in very simple terms, we'll be asking them to audit themselves. We're asking someone to make an assessment of whether or not we should continue with this project, and PeopleSoft has a vested interest in continuing this project. As a consequence, we shouldn't ask a company that has a financial stake in a project to determine whether or not we should continue with that project.
Okay. Mr. Deaton, I saw you point your finger up, and I have
Right.
one other question after that. But
First off, I agree with everybody at the table relative to the problem of having PeopleSoft do the analysis right now. But I think there's a further problem in that there is a potential, and the city attorney can address this, but if a consultant is involved in an assessment like this and suggests that we move ahead, you create a problem under state law of a conflict of interest for proceeding, and we might foreclose, and I think we would foreclose the ability to use PeopleSoft as the final consultant to complete the project. And I don't believe that is, given the limited number of people that we probably would have for that particular job, that would be in our best interest at this point in time.
So then what I'm hearing from staff right now is that we shouldn't have PeopleSoft do this preliminary assessment or evaluate itself, because because we've already reached the foregone conclusion that PeopleSoft will be the company doing the work.
No, I don't want to give that impression at all.
But that's kind of like what it sounds like, because if we haven't reached that foregone conclusion, I'm trying to figure it out.
No, first off, I want to interject real quickly on that. First off, even if in my mind I had made my mind up on that, I would not make that a public statement because there's some negotiations to be involved in that process. Two, there are other people who in fact can do that, and I think if we in fact proceed, which I think is at least a possibility, a strong possibility, we want to sit down eye to eye with more than one firm, and we're not going to put all our eggs in one basket right now, period.
So just so I make sure I understand.
I want the
what's
option.
going on. Yeah, and I understand what both of you said. So what you're saying is that the firm that we're talking about right now will be evaluating the work that's been done up to now?
That's right, and making a determination what direction should we take.
And that-
with city staff and with that consultant, taking a pause and saying whether or not is the legacy system all of a sudden found the fountain of youth, and we can continue with that for ever and ever, someplace along on our path on LAPS, or is LAPS the right way to proceed and at this point?
Okay, take it.
Lee Thomas?
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the council, to the staff, the objective is, in my view, to figure out how we can most efficiently get to the point of implementation of this payroll system, which we all recognize is long overdue and has triggered other issues in terms of cost that the city has had to incur. We needn't go into great detail in that regard, owing to the fact that some of it is the basis of rather extensive and you might say torturous litigation. I simply want to suggest that if in fact our primary objectives as it relates to the assessment relates to the issue of cost effectiveness and efficiency, unless the implication here, and it ought to be explicated from my point of view, that PeopleSoft is part and parcel problematic as it relates to the Sierra Group's lack of effective performance, it would seem to me that we would take the best of what that company has to make the assessment and to say where Sierra did or did not do well, because they have the most knowledge and or understanding about it. Any other vendor, unless I'm hearing something substantially different, doesn't have the knowledge base, the familiarity with the programs and the whole range of things that seems to me to be consistent with cost effectiveness and ultimately the issue of expeditiously completing the assessment task. I full well agree that you want arm's length, you want independence. I don't hear PeopleSoft's review compromising that, particularly if in fact it is a question of making sure that this is a program that is yet to be implemented pursuant to some of the recent comments as to it being online for a long time and having to be assessed, generally speaking. If there's a concern that they can't do the assessment and apply for the implementation, then that ought to be stated as well. And I would think the CAO ought to declare himself in that regard and communicate to PeopleSoft and or Logicon or whoever else may be the case. They can't do both. But it has to be cleared up. Thank you, Mr. President.
All right. Mr. Deaton?
And I think the CAO can respond to this as well, but my understanding in my discussions with the CAO is that any consultant that we considered for this job has been told that they will not be eligible for the follow-on project, one. Two,
that's important.
And that has been the framework in which we have proceeded to select a consultant. Secondly, the potential conflict is that the way this assignment is being framed is that it is not a question of how most cost-effective to proceed with LAPS, but what is the most cost-effective way to proceed with payroll. And the issue is one approach, which is LAPS, which involves the PeopleSoft software. Another approach is, as I was saying, the legacy program, which is the one that we implemented in 1972, and that how well and how long can that solve our problems. And so there's a question in which half the question, or at least a portion of the question, does not involve PeopleSoft software. Well,
Bill, did you want to be heard?
Real brief. I echo Ron's comments. The only thing I'd like to add is that the company we have identified has 2 individuals on their team with significant knowledge and experience with PeopleSoft projects.
Hernandez, did you want to be heard?
This conversation has managed to confuse me even more, but I just want to make sure, is the controller, the CLA, and the CEO all in agreement on this?
yes.
Yes.
And the ITA and the city attorney? Okay.
That is correct.
Mrs. Chick?
Yes, just to make sure we're all on the same page here, I think there's been some good points made, and what I would like to direct in terms of adding to this report, and I need the city attorney to tell me if an amendment is needed, but this outside consultant that we're hiring should absolutely sit down and spend some time interviewing the key staff of PeopleSoft, and should incorporate into the report that's coming back to us what those comments and recommendations are, including PeopleSoft's arguments for continuing the LAPS program, for what their role would be in continuing that. So if I have your assurance, Mr. Fujioka, that that would be included, I don't know that I need to amend the committee report.
Yes, it'll be done.
Colleagues, one of the things we're asking for here, not only how should we proceed and should we continue with the LAPS implementation, but to find out what that program is actually going to deliver to us and how much it's going to cost, because there is a likelihood that there is a need for additional funding to be allocated. And certainly, before we give direction to proceed along the lines of LAPS, we need to also make fiscal decisions. That is why some of the details here are being requested. But I will be interested to hear from PeopleSoft and to, looking at the next phase, see if in fact it doesn't make sense to have a much more significant role for PeopleSoft if we are to go forward with LAPS. Thank you.
What do we have before us?
14A is the Ridley Thomas motion.
I think we just
amending-
have 14 before us, Mr. Clerk. Pursuant to the president's instructions. Thank you so much.
What was that? I didn't,
14 is before you.
14? All right, prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
Thank you.
That is approved. So what do we receive and file? No, we're going to wait. Okay. Next item. Next
Item number 37, there's a request that be held on the desk, so item number 38 is before you.
Okay, we have, item 38, we have Leonard Shapiro, and we have Luri Jutilia.
Mr. President and council members, item number 38 concerns the fact that the gang members are tying a pair of shoes together and throwing them over power lines. And that you want to make sure how you can remove them properly, and you're making a motion to the Department of Water and Power that in the future, any cable company that uses their poles to attach their lines will include the clause in there that they got to remove shoes that are tied. Now, these shoes are supposed to give some kind of gang messages or drug messages. I don't quite understand how it's done. You throw up some shoes up there, and then there's this problem in there. I can't see, I don't understand it too well. I don't know if any members of the council understands it too well, but it seems to me if there's a pair of old shoes hanging over a power line, somebody ought to take them down, Mr. President.
Luri Jutila.
Good morning, Council. My name is Lowry Utila. I am a member of the Wilshire Community Police Advisory Board. and I'm also the head of CHAPS Neighborhood Association. The reason I'm here today is to speak on the sneakers hanging from the wires. It's not really important whether or not they signify gang territory actually. What's important is that the fact that they're perceived to is enough to increase fear of crime in the neighborhoods in which they exist. And in fact, they will be a self-fulfilling prophecy. Once the gangs figure out that people have decided that, they'll put it up as a method of intimidation. These sneakers have been a topic at a number of police advisory board meetings, and the consensus in the Wilshire Division is that there's a high probability that they do, in fact, represent gang signs or territories. It does seem reasonable to expect the cable company to, if they own the wires, be responsible for their maintenance and to make it part of their responsibility for having the right to put up wires in the city of Los Angeles, to maintain them and keep the shoes off them. They are urban blight, and they should be considered along the same lines as graffiti and be removed as soon as possible. Thank you very much.
The public hearing is closed. Do we have, Mr. Holden, did you want to be heard?
Mr. President, members, the cable company more than 20 years ago pleaded with the legislature to require the telephone companies and other companies that install poles, telephone poles in our cities, to allow them to use, have access to the telephone poles so they could provide the cable service for various communities. That was a tough fight in the legislature, but it was granted to the cable companies. Now, they have to comply with the rules and regulations, same as any other utility. And the request is that they remove those sneakers from those power lines when they're installed, and they should not be allowed to get away with it. So I think that should be a part of the contractual agreement, and I so move.
Mr. Holden moves. Is there a law against throwing shoes on overhead utility lines? Can anybody answer that?
We just want to remove it.
Huh?
It's defacing.
Yeah. Yeah, but, okay, we have 38 before us. Prepare the roll. Tabulate the vote.
12 ayes.
That is approved. Mr. Savornich?
Thank you, Mr. President. It has come to my attention that item number 2 that the council has passed needs to be reconsidered in order that we may receive and file. I've been informed by the Building and Safety Department that the assessment has been paid by the owner, and it would not be correct to assess the amount at this time. So I would like to move reconsideration of item number 2 for the purposes of receiving and filing.
All right, is there any objections to reconsidering item number 2? Seeing none, the matter is before us, and Mr. Savornich has moved that the item be received and filed. That will be the order.
Thank you.
Next item.
Item number 37, called special by Councilmember Hernandez.
Mr. Hernandez, 37.
Mr. President, if staff could approach over Mr. Anderson, I saw him here earlier. Mr. President, members of the council, this is a new RFP process for the human service delivery system that's going out. And we have been trying to maximize the amount of time we gave community-based organizations to basically bid or form collaboratives as part of a new system for the human service delivery system. And some of the community-based organizations had requested additional time. Part of my concerns is if that additional time created a burden that staff would make it almost impossible to comply with, and then in regards to the RFP, it would affect the dollar figures. And I wanted staff to directly answer that, because as we continue to defer this RFP, it continues to cost more money to keep the current system in place, and it takes away money from the new system. And those were the issues I wanted staff to address.
Yes, Councilmember. The
The extension for approximately a month will cost up to $100,000 of additional funds that would have to come out of the new delivery system that would be put in place when we complete the bid process. There are a couple other things that are important from the staff perspective. We have always been really concerned about providing agencies adequate time to do a thoughtful proposal. That helps everyone. It helps develop better programs. It also ensures that the process for making decisions is one is strong and as thoughtful as possible. In this particular case, for this RFP, the agencies have been given the longest time to develop their applications that I have ever experienced within the Community Development Department in 22 years. 6 months ago, the department released its transmittal that very clearly defined the family development networks and the consortium arrangement there. 3 months ago, City Council approved the concept. Again, that was public, and again, the agencies were provided the information. The agencies then were given 2 months additional to develop their proposals. We have also provided training on consortium and consortium development, facilitated communications. So we feel that, quite frankly, the agencies have had a substantial amount of time to work through the consortium issues. In addition, what's happened is that as we continue to extend the deadline in this RFP, the process, and that's been extended about 4 times. What's occurred is that we're really causing a great deal of hardship on the agencies. It's not our staff issue, it's the agency staff issue. Month after month after month, those agencies and that staff don't know whether they're going to be funded in the future. They're losing good staff members. In addition to that, we're seeing a reduction in the level of enrollment and activities of clients as people gear up for a new system. So we find that it's a burden on the agencies. It will cost more. That we've tried to provide significant amount of time for them to do their work. And at the staff level and from our department, we would really like to continue with the process, help the agencies out by making a decision and helping them start their new programs as quickly as possible.
Yeah, Mr. President, members of the council, we tried to hear this item in committee, but because it was a Rule 16 motion, we weren't able to agendize it and get it in there properly. And I had spoken to Ms. Goldberg about it, and her intent was the spirit of trying to give agencies more time, but at the same time, she wanted to make sure that we had staff's recommendation because of the impacts it would have, not only financially, but also in terms of the process. And so, at this time, I move that we receive and file this motion and allow staff to continue the process as is.
Thank you very much.
Mr. Hernandez, Mike, what did you, receive and file a motion? All right, is there any objections to receiving and filing the motion on item 37? Seeing none, that will be the order. Next item.
The items on the desk are closed session items, so now is the time for public comment on non-agenda items.
Okay, we'll have the public comment period. Nico and Theo Mipopoulos.
Yeah, on my desk. Grab it and bring it down here real quick.
Well, I can't help that. Ooh. Okay, go ahead.
I'm Nico Milanopoulos, and I live in Los Angeles.
I'm Theo Milanopoulos, and I live in Los Angeles. We are here today to deliver you postcards signed by the kids and adults of Los Angeles supporting the motion to ban the sale of gun ammunition across the city.
We made these postcards and took them to the entrance of the Los Angeles City Zoo, where hundreds of people enthusiastic signed them. We collected about 800 signatures in 2 hours. We discovered that many kids and adults were just as afraid of being shot as we are. Here are some of the messages that they wrote to you on the postcards.
Stop the shooting.
Alter the innocent bloodshed.
Stop the guns and bullets and killing of the kids.
Stop letting people shoot us.
Save our city.
Make the hurt go away.
On the day we were collecting signatures, a 5-year-old girl asked me, "Am I going to get shots from when I go to kindergarten?" I replied, no, but you will probably get a vaccination from your doctor before you go to school. Then she said, no, no. I mean, will I get shots from a gun when I go to school? I didn't know what to say to her. When I looked down on the paper where she had signed her name, a chill ran down my spine. This little girl's name was America.
If Thomas Jefferson, the founding father of America's democracy, were to walk into this assembly room right now and learn that across America 13 kids a day are being shot to death, we believe that he would be appalled at what is happening to America's kids. We believe that without hesitation, he would vote yes to ban the sale of ammunition in the large urban center.
When the time comes for you to vote on this issue, remember that you hold the power to stop the killing of children. Remember the words of wisdom from the Mishnah. Whoever saves one life, it is as if they have saved the world entire. Thank you.
All right, thank you, thank you. Reverend Stewart, something. Reverend, I'll be interested in the last name.
Parham.
Huh?
Parham. Paul Adam Robert, yeah, like a police.
Okay, Mr. Reverend Parham.
Could you all stand up? Today, honorable council members, I brought a contingency from Watts with me because it seems to me that we've been ignored on several issues. And the issue I bring to you today is our councilman seems to not want to meet with us to even tell us about the alley conversion program that's been in existence for 3 years. And today we come to you and demand that the council, and we're not trying to insubordinate, but we're demanding that the council take this issue and make these alleys a priority. We turned in 5 alleys to Bob Hayes on March 11th, 1999. In one of those alleys in particular, I eulogized a young man. Yes, he was a gangbanger. That's no excuse to allow the rest of the young children that who walk safely back and forth, who desire to walk safely back and forth from school, to have to go through these same alleys and be chased and be actually in fear of these other young men. We need to close those alleys. One of those alleys on that list was between Gorman and I believe it was Calmia on between 103rd and 105th, and the boy was killed in that alley. So we demand that those 5 alleys be placed on a priority list. If the council could, please, if you could just, let's say, appease us with that. Secondly, we would like a meeting with you, Mr. Savornich, please. Can the citizens of Watts, these are just our block captains. It seemed like to me that in order to avoid embarrassment, sir, well, it seemed like to me that you would just meet with us to listen to what us poor folk in Watts got to say. We're homeowners, and I don't want to direct this directly at you, but it's an issue. We need to have some voice in the 15th.
Thank you, Reverend. We have other people who want to be heard. We want to thank you for coming in today. Leonard Shapiro.
Mr. President and council members, because of the leadership of the City Council in 1998 in holding community meetings of the City Council itself in the various different council districts, because of this leadership that the City Council showed, the Police Commission decided to follow your leadership. And they have held, so far this year, 3 meetings of the Police Commission in the various, in 3 different communities, El Sereno, Sunland, and Riverside Drive. And they're holding another one next week, September 28th, 2 weeks, in the LA City Council Student Lounge. I think this is a wonderful idea. I wish more committees and commissions decided to follow the leadership. Because if you remember in 1998, when the City Council met in the various councilmanic districts, 10 of them, you had 10 meetings there, The average attendance was between 400 and 500 people who showed up. And about 30 or 40 or 50 always were ready to talk, to give you the benefit of what they wanted to hear from you. This was a great thing. And all of a sudden, November 1998 is the end. There's no more meetings to be held in the communities. Why not? This community meetings of the city council has been held for the past 20 years. Not to the extent of 10 a year like you pioneered in 1998, but you've held meetings way back 20 or 25 years ago. There's no reason why somebody can't say, even though the council president has determined it's a pilot project and he doesn't like it, the bureaucrats kick too much, they got to get off their rear ends and they got to go out in the community there so that people can have a break. Even though this is happening, no council member is proposing to the council president that you continue these meetings, which are a necessity. It's bad enough that the people all over the city are alienated and frustrated, and they don't like the city council, don't like the activities. But you are opening up a new door by allowing them to see these council meetings, and now you're not having any in 1999. You have none for the year 2000. What a way to start a new millennium. Why don't you do the right thing? Just one person ought to get up there and say, Mr. President, I think we should have a community district meeting for the benefit of my constituents. Mr. President.
Okay, that's all the cards we have. The public hearing is closed. And as members of the council know, anytime they want to have the meeting in their district, they all have to do is just request it and try to do it on a Wednesday or Thursday when Mr. Shapiro won't be there. Next item.
Motions for posting and referral.
If there's no objections, unanimous vote.
Council members request your excuse from council. Councilmember Goldberg.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Chick requests to be excused on Friday the 17th, meets policy.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Pacheco requests to be excused on September 28th to leave at noon. This meets policy.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Savornich requests to be excused on September 24th to leave at 11:30. This meets policy.
Unanimous vote.
Councilmember Burnson requests to be excused on September 15th to leave at 10:45. This requires a motion.
That would break a quorum, Mr. Burnson. So we'll leave it on the desk.
Councilmember Savornich requests to be excused on November 23rd and 24th for personal business. This meets policy.
Can't get a motion to unanimous vote. Is that it?
Items number 44, 45, and 46 are closed session items.
Mr. Holden?
Mr. President, I respectfully request that item 13 be scheduled for next Tuesday. I don't think there's going to be a quorum tomorrow.
Okay. Is there any objection to item number 13 to be continued until, what date did you say? Tuesday. Next Tuesday? No, if not, that will be the order. All right. What item? Which item? Ms. Goldberg has asked, tomorrow we won't have a quorum, Pat. Probably won't have on Friday either. Is she interested in all three of them? Ms. Goldberg has requested that all the executive closed session items be continued until Friday. How many is going to be here Friday?
12 members until 11:30.
12 members until 11:30. Till 11:30. Yeah. Members of the council, I want to remind you that council meets 3 times a week, and we should not leave early. We should not be excused. 3 times a week. We used to meet every day. We changed it to 3 days a week, so we would have those days to do something. But now it's getting out of hand. So, next item.
Are we continuing the closed session
items? The closed session items are going to be continued until. All right, Ms. Goldberg is on her way, so we'll leave those on the desk. So, would everyone that not involved with the executive session please leave the council chamber? back in open session. Next item.
The desk is clear.
Okay, we do have some adjourning motions, so would everyone please stand? Forthwith on 14.
Thank you.
Forthwith on 14. Members of the council, I'd ask we adjourn in memory of Chen Ku-che, who was the father of Katrina Leon, who was very active in the Quanzhou Sister City Committee of Los Angeles.
I'd like to second that.
Okay. Mr. Fuhrer?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd ask that the council adjourn in memory of Adita Spiegel, who passed away on September 1st.
I think we did that already.
Did we? Did we?
That's the one I asked you to do for me. Yeah, we did.
Okay, thank you.
Do it again.
Yeah, I'd like to be a co-sponsor on that if it hasn't already been done.
Mr. Hernandez?
Yes, Mr. President, members of council, I ask that we adjourn in the name of Wilmer C. Thompson. He passed away on September 12th. He was 42 years old. He was a letter carrier for the 7th and Union area. Had been working that particular route since 1971, and leaves his mother, his one brother, and 4 sisters as survivors.
Mr. Padilla?
Actually have two requests that the council adjourn in memory of Lucille Hardy, who was a custodian supervisor for the Department of General Services in the North District. She had been employed by the city for 26 years, starting as a custodian in 1973 in the Public Works Department, and subsequently promoted to the position senior custodian in 1981 and custodian supervisor in 1984 in the Department of General Services. Lucille was a dedicated employee who worked diligently in performing her daily tasks to ensure that the public facilities were clean and presentable. She passed away on September 6, 1999.
I'd like to be a second round.
Also wish to adjourn in memory of Alfredo El Güero Gil, who was the last original member of the trio, the Bolero trio from Mexico, Los Panchos, who were legendary, anybody who's familiar with their music. He died last Friday night at his home in Mexico City at the age of 84. He was originally born in Tezuitlan in the central Mexican state of Puebla, and began writing lyrics and playing guitar as a boy, and became a professional musician at the age of 15. He immigrated to the United States in 1944 and formed Los Panchos here in the United States, along with 2 musicians he met living in New York City, Chucho Navarro, who was also from Mexico, and Hernando Aviles, who was from Puerto Rico. Their tours were very popular back in the day, including ones held in downtown Los Angeles at the $1 Million Theater, and they were always sold out from the stories I've been told. Collaborations with American pop singer Eddie Gourmet added a female voice to their songs, as well as crossover appeal. As a composer, he had registered hundreds of songs during his career, and the band also appeared in more than 50 films during the golden era of Mexican cinema. He is survived by his wife, Guadalupe Bedoy, and 5 children. Thank you.
Mr. Savornich?
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the council, I would like to ask that we adjourn in memory of Dinko Mosic, aged 99 and 9 months old, who passed away just a couple of weeks ago, 3 months short of his 100th birthday. Was an immigrant from the island of Brač, Croatia, survived by his daughter Frida Sliskovic and Dr. Andy Mosic from USC, the Economics Department, who was also a productivity commissioner for the city of Los Angeles. Dinko was a fine, quiet man, one of many who immigrated to the United States in search of a better life and spent his years as a commercial fisherman, survived by a loving family, including many grandchildren, will be sorely missed, and I ask that we adjourn in his memory.
Put me as a second on that. Call the roll. The council is adjourned.